the Q&A section of the show where we asked Mayor Letham some questions from our viewers and from Lindsay Advocate readers as well.
Sure.
Is there any impact for Kawartha Lakes that you can see from the results of the recent federal election? Any connection there?
I wouldn't say there's too many immediate impacts. A lot of our funding, that we get through different grant programs through the province is partial funding from the federal government, partial from the province, and partial, almost like a one-third. A lot of the things we apply for, that's kind of the case. So not a lot has changed, minority government as opposed to what if a new government come in and had changed all those criteria, but they don't usually do that. Stuff that's put in place, they usually continue forward. So, we're not as close with the federal end of it from a municipal point of view, obviously, as we are with the provincial. We're a little more hand in hand with them, but we all need to be on the same page, right? I mean, we're all spending money and it's all coming out of the same pocket, I like to refer to. So whether it's at the federal level, some of the things that are important to municipalities, we can't do without the help of, a provincial or a federal government. And, sometimes they're a little harder to get in line than things that we want to accomplish. But overall, not a real huge wake up the next morning and go, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? So.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. How many weddings have occurred at City Hall since the city started offering this service?
Oh, you're asking me to check my statistics. My understanding is we've had over almost 30 weddings,
okay.
Or just over 30. It's been exciting. They got one here this afternoon actually, and it's very exciting. Our staff are excited about it, and people seem to be enjoying the ease of the affordability factor and the ease of it is to just come in and have. Some of them are just 2 people with witnesses, others are showing up with 20-30 people, and some of them have done them outside at the side of the building, which is a beautiful old building, and some of them are doing them in council chambers now that the weather's not so tickety-boo, but they're doing a nice job, and it seems to be quite popular. So it's fun to see people coming in and utilizing the facility like that.
That's great. One of our advocate readers says the garbage cans on Kent Street need to be emptied on a regular basis. Too often there's garbage overflowing onto the sidewalk. I guess that's more of a statement than a question, but You could turn it into one. I just wondered what...
Yeah, I'd have to check, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think the garbage, whether that's collected through our contractor, or whether there's some agreement with the BIA, downtown Lindsay, where they collect it and they have a dumpster and Miller comes and empties it out. I don't know the exact details on where that comes from, but those are things that we need to know about, and we've mentioned that before through our customer service. If somebody can send that issue in, then we find out about it. But the BIA has staff there to maintain the integrity of the downtown area. Mm-hmm. So I would think that some of those cases where yes, the garbage is picked up once a week like everywhere else. But regular emptying of those bins, whether that's the city's responsibility or whether that's the BIA, or we're working together on it. I'd have to look into it. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay, when you say the garbage is picked up once a week, you're referring to business garbage
Yeah,
pickup?
regular business garbage, but your public, it's like in our parks. I mean, we have our park staff who obviously empty the garbage more than once a week. So I'm not 100% sure who's responsible for the downtown area, but if they sent that in, we would certainly look into it and make some adjustments to whatever has to be made.
Okay. The road signs on Kent Street West, Lindsay Street South, and Angeline South, which names the service clubs in Lindsay, are in a deplorable state, one reader says. All of these things don't present the city in a very inviting way to any visitors to our area.
Yeah.
So she wondered if something could be done about that.
Yeah, I'll look into that. That's a good point. I've actually noticed them myself a few times, and I know that the BIA has put some signs up, for events going on. They look quite nice, and they're maintained regularly. But there are some, that's actually a really good point. There are some areas where I've seen those old tired signs up there that I'm not sure what we're trying to promote, but I'm not sure we're accomplishing it by the state that they're in. So I appreciate that comment, and I will certainly look into that.
All right. Ashley would like to know why people who do not work get free daycare and those who work don't. Also, why is there such a long wait for daycare when there are kids whose parents don't work or going there?
Well, that's a complicated question, but it's certainly a good one. A lot of our daycare spaces are funded by the province, and we deliver that on the municipal level with provincial funding. Availability has always been a big issue. You know, the available of daycare spaces in all municipalities across the province, not just the Kawartha Lakes, but it really comes down to funding from our provincial partner, and that funding's been reduced in next year's budget. So this municipality will have to make a choice. Do we want to make up that funding, or do we want to reduce that level of service to our people looking for daycare spaces?
Is that something you would reach out and ask people about, like a poll of some kind?
It'll be part of the budget discussion. We're having a budget, certainly a public budget meeting in November 7th or November 9th in Fenelon Falls in the evening. I'm not exactly 100% sure of the date. I mean, those are the kind of comments that we want to hear from people. Absolutely. It can be correspondence, it could be an email to let us know what their priorities are. But that's, when we talk about pressures from the provincial government and some of the areas that they reduce funding, paramedics is the other one. And we have to decide as a municipality, do we want to make that up, or do we just reduce the level of service that we're offering with their money? And, we can't always make up the funding that the province decides to cut. So, but at the end of the day, these are some of our vulnerable residents that we're trying to, and daycare spaces has been a pretty needed hot topic for a long time. Now, the province has talked about increasing their number of daycare spaces over the years. So, hopefully that's something we can work with them on, but we'll have to see how it rolls out.
Okay. Elaine in Lindsay says the city sent out water bills last month, and hundreds of them were by registered mail, which usually costs quite a bit more. The city usually reserves registering bills when they're considered delinquent, but in this case, for some reason, apparently they spent the money to do this for other accounts as well.
I have no idea. I would have no idea. Usually, she's right. We send out a registered letter when an account is delinquent because we need a signature. We need to know that, they've been informed, that they know what's going on. If it's a regular water bill that went out by a registered mail, I can't tell you why that would have happened. I'm sure there's usually a logical reason, but I will certainly check into that, because hopefully we're not sending out all our bills by registered mail, but I will certainly look into that.
Thanks, Mayor Letham.